Hello everyone, welcome to my first video on this YouTube channel. I created this YouTube channel for coding primarily and maybe occasionally some gameplay, but the first series on this channel will actually be titled Recreating Project Zomboid in C. This series will be a pretty long series. I expect it to be 50 to 150 episodes long. Essentially, what we will be doing is I will guide you through how to recreate Project Zomboid. Of course, not the full-fledged version, but a pretty good one. And I will try to be as beginner-friendly as possible. And yeah, I do need to know, should we add 3D models, create our 3D models? Because Project Zomboid has like two versions of itself. The retro version, which didn't use 3D models, only used pixel art, and then Build 41 animations. Let me know down in the comments and we should decide. So, there's a couple things you would like to install before the video starts, and first of all, you need Visual Studio. I will guide you through it. You will install community version, free download. You will go through the installation process and you should have a window like this, right? You will click, or it shouldn't look like this, it should look like this maybe. Give it a second. It will look like this. Now here's what you want to click. You want to click desktop development for C++. Before we can actually start coding, we do need a couple pre-dependencies. I will name them right now. We need GLAD for OpenGL bindings. We need GLFW or SDL for window handling, but I will be using GLFW. I recommend it. And we will need Microsoft Visual Studio. And finally, we will need CMake. So to actually download Visual Studio 2022, you will head to the link in my description of this video. I will post it there. It's this community version, it's the free version. You will click free download. I already have it downloaded, so I won't click that. But once you go through the installation process of the Visual Studio, you should have a page something like this. Uh, you can click maybe desktop development for C++, but I don't think we actually need any of this. So for now, I'm just gonna click close, and once you're done downloading, it should be ready to go, and you should have a tab something like this. Before we can actually start creating the projects, we do need to create or download, CMake. So head again to the website link in my description and click Windows x64 installer, which should download it. Once it's downloaded, click on it. I have it already downloaded, but it should have a pretty simple installation process. Just next, 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 and then finish. So yes, finish. You will also want to download GLFW. That's pretty easy. All you have to do is click Windows precompiled binaries. Now this step is very important. This is where we decide who are we building for, 64-bit Windows or 32-bit Windows. I do not plan to support 32-bit, so I will just click 64-bit. It will be downloaded, and finally we can go download GLAD, which is a OpenGL binding API, or not API but library. Click GL version 3.3 for compatibility, core, and that's it. Click generate and download the glad.zip file. Now to actually create the project, we have to first extract the zip files of both glfw and glad to a folder called dependencies. I already did that here. It's called dependencies with glad and glfw. Now, back in Visual Studio, you should have a screen like this when you launch it, right? So let's create a new project. Open, create new project. Click on CMake project. Next. And I will name this project or solution Project Zomboid Series YT0. And project name should be episode 1, or at least for me I will call that episode 1. Create. Great. So you should have something like this. There's a couple things I would like to get done right away before we can actually start programming. So first of all, I think it's this button. Yeah, no, it's fine. First of all, we have to click on episode 1, and we don't need this since we're making our game in C. We can simply delete this. Delete this as well. And yeah. Okay, so this is the project setup so far. I already set it up, but I will go over it real quick. And if you want to skip all this, you can download a GitHub repo in the description. I will post it. So, if you know anything about CMake, you will know it's pretty complicated. Not complicated, but annoying to set up, and I'm not going to talk too much about it, but yeah, here it is. So, the root directory CMake, which is in the same part as the solution, I believe, you will not change this one. Leave it for now. The second CMake file, which comes in the episode 1 folder or the same folder where your source is, this is what you will paste in. Essentially what this does is create the project, link a couple libraries, and we will come back to it. As you can see, this is for future episodes, linmath, which is another library, and it links everything up and makes it work. Here's the interesting part. As you probably noticed, I did mention glad here, so we do need to create a CMake file in the glad folder. You create it, and this is all you need to paste inside that folder. Now that you've created and set up the project, I think we're finally ready to create our first window. As this video is already stretching out to be pretty long, I would like to only set up a basic window, and that's pretty much it. But in future episodes we will get sprite rendering, batch rendering, text rendering, all that sort of good stuff ready. But for now, let's start simple and small. So how do we create a window in C using GLFW? Well, to do that, we have to first initialize GLFW. We do that by calling this function GLFW init, but we can't quite call it if we don't import it or include it from GLFW3. This is the folder, as you can remember. GLFW include right here. We also need to include glad, but keep in mind you do need to include glad before you include GLFW. So this line has to be before you include GLFW. Great. So now we initialize GLFW. How do we actually create a window? Well, we can do that by simply saying GLFW window pointer, and I will talk about pointers, but not in the first 5 to 10 episodes because they are pretty complicated, and although I understand them, I would like to go into much more details for you guys. GLFW window is equal to GLFW create window. So here are the parameters. It's width, height, title. Is it full screen? Which we will just say null, and then null again. So great, we created a window. But if we were to run this now, all you would see is a window pop up and disappear. So how do we fix this? We have to create a game loop. Game loop is essentially a system where the game will continuously run for 60 frames per second, most of the time. And we will do something similar, like that, maybe 120 FPS, we will see. GLFW while window should close, and all this does essentially is check if the window should close, and as long as it shouldn't, we continue running this game loop. Window should close. This needs to be, we need to remove the set. And the last two things we have to do is to avoid bugs is we have to GLFW swap buffers, window, and GLFW poll events. And that's it. You should have a window when we run this. Run. Yippee! It's a window, but it's not much. In the next episodes, we will include rendering, UI, much more. But this first episode was only meant to show a proof of concept, see if you guys are interested, and also, well, to set up the project. I really do hope you guys have a good day. See ya. Bye.